Good morning. It's good to be here today. And we're going to actually continue in the idea of worship. And the passage that we're going to be looking at today is in John chapter 4, verses 23 and 24. Um, it's actually a really exciting verse for me. I've always really enjoyed this verse because of what it says. I'll go into that in just a minute. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and read John chapter 4, verses 23 and 24. But an hour is coming and is now here when the true worshiper will worship the Father in spirit and truth. Yes, the Father wants such people to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. What an amazing nugget. And as we go into this, it says God is spirit, and we're to worship him in spirit. And I'm talking about the Holy Spirit. Um, and we are to worship him in truth, fully transparent before him. Now, if you remember, this passage is right when he was talking to the woman at the well in up in Samaria, and he actually had just talked to her about her sin, about the living with these men and so forth that the divorces and living with men and so forth, and the one she was living with at that moment. And it led that place to salvation. And also, he talked to her about living water, which is the Holy Spirit. And so he dealt with this up front when she asked, "Where do we worship?" And that's when Jesus answered her question in this particular way. And if you remember, this is an amazing thing, because if you remember, just after that, um, she goes into her town away from the well, and she tells everybody that she's found the one that is prophesied that was coming, the Messiah. And she gets the town to where they come out to meet him. And as they're coming, remember, the disciples return from buying food, and when they get there, all these people are coming, and Jesus brings up about that the harvest is ready, and the workers are few, and so forth. So um, here we are. What an amazing passage. So, you know what? He wants transparency. He not only wants us to be full of the Holy Spirit, but he wants us to be transparent before him, to have nothing that we're trying to hide, nothing that we're trying to hold back, that we've laid it all out before him and asked him to forgive us for those sins. And I just think that this is amazing nugget as we learn to worship uh, the Father, as we learn to worship him in spirit and truth, and all that that means. And you know what? It's just not one thing. It's kind of a lifelong thing, to where he is preparing us, and he is kind of cleaning us up to be who we're supposed to be. And I that's why I get excited about this, because it's just amazing, a passage. And so I'm hoping that you'll go ahead and spend some time digging into this and really meditating on it, and deciding, what it is. I want all of us to come together and to be able to understand what this means, and to be worshipers in spirit and truth, okay, along with him. I want us all to be like that. Can you imagine if we could all be that way, and what worship would be like? It would be phenomenal, and probably would be so phenomenal that we would not want to leave that worship experience. So once again, I'd just like you to think about this, and to be able to enjoy your worship time as you grow in the Lord.